The massive ship moved through space like a sleeping giant. Its hull was not made of metal but of something alive. The bioship breathed slowly as it traveled between the stars. Inside, Commander Thelvash stood before a large window, looking at the small blue planet ahead. 500,000 years, he said quietly. We have been gone for 500,000 years. Science curator Mordain walked up beside him. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes were large and black. Like all Velthari, she was tall and thin. The planet looks the same from here, she said. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown land. But something is wrong, Thelvash said. He pointed at his control screen. Look at these readings. There is too much energy coming from the planet, too much heat, too many radio waves. The other Velthari crew members gathered around them. They had been traveling for many years to return to this small world. Earth was just one of many planets they had visited long ago. They had seeded life on thousands of worlds across the galaxy. They had taught early creatures how to use fire and make simple tools. Then they had left, planning to return when those creatures became smarter. Maybe another alien race took over the planet, suggested Navigator Kelthara. She was younger than the others and had never seen Earth before. Maybe the primitive apes we left behind are all dead. Thelvash shook his head. Our records show no other advanced species in this area of space. We would have detected their ships. Then what is causing all this energy? Mordain asked. Deploy the scanning drones, Thelvash ordered. We need to see what happened to our little experiment. The bioship released dozens of small living drones. They flew down toward Earth like metallic insects. The drones had eyes that could see everything and devices that could detect all types of energy. The Velthari waited for the images to come back. When the first pictures arrived, the control room fell silent. This cannot be real, whispered Mordain. The images showed massive structures covering the land. Straight lines ran across continents like scars. Geometric shapes rose from the ground, reaching toward the sky. At night, the entire planet glowed with artificial light. Strange metal objects moved through the sky, leaving white trails behind them. The primitive apes, Kelthara said slowly. What happened to the primitive apes? More images came. The drones showed creatures walking on two legs, wearing coverings over their skin. They moved in large groups through the geometric structures. They rode in metal boxes that moved without being pulled by animals. They had completely changed the surface of their world. Impossible, Thelvash said. These creatures were barely using stone tools when we left. They could not even make fire properly. How could they build all this? On the surface of Earth, Dr. Kim Dae-ho was working late in his laboratory at Seoul National University. He was a xenobiologist, a scientist, who studied the possibility of life on other worlds. He had spent his whole career looking for signs of aliens in space. His radio telescope had detected something strange 3 days ago. Large objects were moving toward Earth from deep space. The objects were too big to be asteroids and too organized to be natural. Dae-ho had been tracking them constantly. Dr. Kim called his assistant, Dr. Park Minna. She ran into the laboratory holding a tablet computer. The objects have stopped moving. They are now in orbit around Earth. Dae-ho looked at the data on her tablet. 12 large objects, each one about the size of a small city. They are not made of any material we recognize. What do you think they are? Minna asked. I think, Dae-ho said carefully, we are about to meet our first aliens. At that same moment, governments around the world were receiving the same information. Military leaders held emergency meetings. Scientists checked and rechecked their instruments. News reporters prepared for the biggest story in human history. Back on the Velthari ship, the crew was studying more images of Earth. Every picture brought new shock and confusion. Look at this, Mordain said, pointing to an image of New York City. The structures reach into the clouds. How did creatures with such small brains learn to build so high? And this, added Kelthara, showing a picture of an airport. Those metal objects in the sky. The primitive apes learned to fly. Thelvash was silent for a long time. The Velthari had visited many worlds. They had guided the development of many species. But they had never seen anything like this. Species were supposed to develop slowly and predictably. The Velthari would return every few thousand years to teach them new things. Fire, then tools, then simple buildings, then basic science. It was always the same pattern, but the creatures on Earth had not followed the pattern. They had developed on their own, without guidance. They had built a complex civilization in what seemed like no time at all. "Commander," said one of the crew members, "what are your orders?" Thelvash continued to stare at the images. "Send a communication probe. Use the basic mathematical signals we taught them long ago. If these creatures are really the same species we left behind, they should remember." The probe was sent toward Earth. It transmitted simple number patterns: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it sent basic mathematical equations: 2 plus 2, 4, 3i 3, 9. These were the first lessons the Velthari had taught to early humans so long ago. On Earth, radio, telescopes around the world detected the signal immediately. Dr. Kim Dae-ho was among the first to understand what it meant. "It's a contact signal," he told the emergency committee of world leaders who had gathered by video conference. "Someone is trying to talk to us using mathematics." "Can we respond?" asked the Secretary General of the United Nations. "Yes," Dae-ho said. "We send the same type of signal back, but more advanced. We show them that we understood their message and that we have learned much more." The response was sent within hours. Earth transmitted the same number patterns, then added more complex mathematics, calculus equations, physics formulas, and chemical structures. The message was clear. "We received your signal, and we have grown far beyond what you taught us." When the Velthari received Earth's response, the control room erupted in chaos. Crew members argued loudly in their musical language. Some were frightened, others were curious, all were confused. "They remember," Mordain said in amazement. "After all this time, they remember the lessons we taught them. But look how much they have learned without us," Kelthera added. "These mathematical concepts are more advanced than what we teach most species." Thelvash felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of being hurt, but fear of the unknown. 500,000 years of guiding species across the galaxy. Nothing like this had ever happened. The primitive apes of Earth had become something unexpected and powerful. "Prepare a landing party," he ordered. "We need to see these creatures face to face. We need to understand what they have become." As the Velthari prepared to make contact, humans around the world watched the skies and wondered what would happen next. Neither species knew that this meeting would change everything they believed about life, intelligence, and what it meant to be truly advanced. The greatest encounter in the history of both species was about to begin. The Velthari communication probe had been sending signals for 3 days. Simple mathematical patterns, just like they had done on thousands of other worlds. But Earth's response was overwhelming. "Too many signals," complained Communication Officer Vextal, holding his head in his hands. "They are sending thousands of different transmissions at once. Radio waves, digital signals, something called television. How can one species make so much noise?" Commander Thelvash watched the screens showing Earth's electromagnetic activity. The planet buzzed with more communication signals than most advanced civilizations used. "This is not normal," he said. "Species at this level should have simple radio at best." "Commander," said Mordain, studying the decoded messages, "I think I understand why there are so many signals. It appears that multiple groups on the planet are trying to contact us. Not just one leader or one nation, hundreds of different governments and organizations." Thelvash felt confused. Multiple governments? But we left only scattered tribes. How could they have so many different leaders? "The population scan shows over 7 billion individuals on the planet," reported Kelthera. 7 billion. When we left, there were maybe a few million across the entire world. The numbers were staggering. The Velthari had guided species for millions of years, but they had never seen growth like this. Most species they helped reached maybe a few 100 million individuals at their peak. 7 billion was beyond their understanding. "Sir," said Fextal, "we are receiving a coordinated response. All the major signals are now sending the same message in the same mathematical format." The message was clear and sophisticated. Earth was requesting a meeting. They provided coordinates for a location called New York City. They explained that representatives from their entire species would gather there. They even included basic information about their atmosphere and biology to help the Velthari prepare. "They want to meet us," Mordain said, "but they assume we need special equipment to breathe their air. They don't remember that we created their atmosphere to match ours long ago." "What concerns me," Thelvash said slowly, "is how organized they are. In 3 days they coordinated a response from their entire planet. That level of communication and cooperation should not be possible for a species at their development level. On Earth, the response had indeed been remarkable." Dr. Kim Dae-ho found himself at the center of humanity's first contact team. He worked with scientists, diplomats, and military officers from around the world. Lieutenant Kang Jun-sik of the Korean Space Force was assigned as his military liaison. "Dr. Kim," Kang said, "the aliens have agreed to meet. They're sending a small ship to the United Nations headquarters." Dae-ho nodded. "Have we prepared the translation systems?" "As much as we can," replied Dr. Park Min-ah, "but we're working with basic mathematics. We have no idea what their language actually sounds like." Diplomat Lee So-young entered the command center. She would lead the human delegation. "The world leaders are nervous," she said. "This is the most important meeting in human history, and we have no idea what these aliens want." "Based on their signals," Dae-ho said, "they seem surprised by our development. Their initial contact methods were very basic, like they expected us to be primitive." "That's what worries me," Kang said. "If they expected us to be primitive, what will they think now that they see what we've become?" The Velthari landing craft descended toward New York City. It was small compared to their main ships, but still larger than most human aircraft. The bioship's living hull pulsed gently as it flew through Earth's atmosphere. Inside, Commander Thelvash and his team prepared for the meeting. Along with Mordain and Kelthara, he brought Security Chief Torvak and Cultural Analyst Zendar. All of them had studied the images of human civilization, but none of them were prepared for what they would see. As their ship approached the city, the Velthari stared in shock at the landscape below them. Massive structures covered the land as far as they could see. Roads and highways formed complex patterns connecting everything together. Millions of humans moved through the streets like ants in a colony. "How is this possible?" whispered Zendar. "The geometric precision, the organization, the scale. This is more advanced than civilizations we have guided for thousands of years." "And they did it all without our help," Torvak added grimly. "In fact, they did it without any guidance at all." The ship landed in a specially prepared area near the United Nations building. As the Velthari stepped out, they were greeted by the sight of the massive city surrounding them. Skyscrapers reached toward the clouds. The noise of traffic and human activity filled the air. Electronic screens displayed images and text in dozens of languages. Commander Thelvash felt overwhelmed. "This is wrong," he said quietly. "This is not how species are supposed to develop." The human delegation approached them. Lee So-young stepped forward and spoke in careful, slow English. "Welcome to Earth. We are honored to meet you." Dr. Kim Dae-ho activated the translation device they had prepared. It converted speech into mathematical patterns and back again. The process was slow, but it worked. "You are the controllers of this world?" Thelvash asked through the translator. Lee So-young looked confused. "Controllers? We are representatives of the human species. We speak for our people." "But where are the real controllers?" Mordain interrupted. "The advanced species that built all this? Where are they?" The humans looked at each other in confusion. "We built this," Dae-ho said. "Humans built this civilization. We are the only intelligent species on this planet." The Velthari delegation fell silent. Torvak stepped back as if he had been struck. Zendar made a sound that might have been a gasp. Kelthara stared at the humans with wide eyes. Impossible, Thelvash said. You are the primitive apes we left behind. You could barely use fire. You lived in caves and hunted with sticks. That was our ancestors, Li So-young said carefully. We have learned much since then. Show us, Mordain demanded. Show us what you have learned. The humans led the Velthari into the United Nations building. As they walked through the halls, the aliens saw more impossible things. Humans from dozens of different nations working together. Advanced technology integrated into every wall and surface. Art and decorations that showed creativity and imagination. In the main assembly hall, Dr. Park Min-ah began a presentation about human development. She showed images of ancient cave paintings, then Egyptian pyramids, then Roman architecture, then medieval castles, then modern cities. Each era built upon the last, she explained. We learned from our mistakes. We improved our methods. We developed new technologies. Professor Choi Byung-ho, a historian, added, We learned to work together. Different cultures shared knowledge. We competed with each other, but we also cooperated. Competition? Thelvash asked. You fought each other? Sometimes, Li So-young admitted. But conflict also drove innovation. We developed better tools, better medicine, better ways to communicate. The Velthari looked at each other in alarm. In their experience, species that fought each other usually destroyed themselves. They had never seen a species that used conflict as a source of progress. Dr. Kim Dae-ho showed them examples of human science. Mathematical theorems, physics discoveries, space exploration, medical advances. Each achievement built upon previous knowledge, but also broke new ground. We learned to ask questions, Dae-ho said. We questioned everything. We tested our ideas. We changed our beliefs when we found better answers. Changed your beliefs? Zendar asked in horror. But beliefs are supposed to be stable, unchanging. How can a species function if their beliefs keep changing? That's how we learn, Park Min-ah replied. We discover new things, so we change our understanding. As the presentation continued, the Velthari became more and more disturbed. Everything humans described was wrong according to their understanding of how species should develop. Humans had learned without teachers. They had advanced through conflict and competition. They had changed their beliefs and behaviors. They had developed unpredictably and rapidly. We need to return to our ship, Thelvash said suddenly. We need to discuss what we have learned. The humans escorted them back to their landing craft. As the Velthari prepared to leave, Lieutenant Kang Jun-sik asked, Will we meet again? Thelvash looked at him for a long moment. Yes, he said finally. We will meet again very soon. As the alien ship lifted off, the human delegation watched from the ground. What do you think they're planning? Li So-young asked. Dr. Kim Dae-ho shook his head. I think we just terrified them. The question is, what do scared aliens do to species that frighten them? In the sky above, the Velthari ship returned to the main fleet. The crew members sat in silence, trying to process what they had seen. Their entire understanding of how the universe worked had been challenged in a single day. What do we do now? Kelthara asked quietly. Commander Thelvash stared out at the blue planet below. Now, he said, we decide what to do about the greatest threat we have ever encountered. The Velthari fleet hung in space above Earth like sleeping giants. Inside the largest bioship, the Command Council was meeting for the first time in centuries. The great chamber pulsed with living light as dozens of Velthari gathered to discuss the human problem. Commander Thelvash stood at the center of the room. His voice carried clearly to every corner. What we have seen on Earth threatens everything we know about the natural order of the universe. The humans have broken every rule of development, added Security Chief Torvak. They advanced without guidance. They learned without teachers. They grew through conflict instead of peace. Cultural analyst Zendar displayed holographic images of human cities. Look at their chaotic growth patterns. No planned development, no organized expansion. They built their civilization like wild plants growing in a forest. The older members of the council nodded in agreement. These were the Velthari who had guided species for thousands of years. They understood the proper way civilizations should develop, slow, steady, controlled progress under careful guidance. But Navigator Kelthera stood up from her seat. With respect, elders, perhaps we should consider what the humans have achieved. In 500,000 years, they have built something remarkable. Remarkable? Thelvash turned to face her. They have built chaos, uncontrolled growth, dangerous unpredictability. They have built diversity, Kelthera replied. Thousands of different cultures, hundreds of languages, multiple forms of government and society. They have explored possibilities we never considered. Science curator Mordain spoke up. The Navigator raises an interesting point. Our own records show that we have guided over 10,000 species across the galaxy. All of them developed in exactly the same way. Same technologies in the same order. Same social structures. Same beliefs. Because that is the correct way, insisted Torvak. Controlled development prevents chaos. It prevents war. It prevents destruction. But does it prevent stagnation? Asked Kelthara. When did any of our guided species create something truly new? When did they surprise us with an unexpected discovery? The question hung in the air like a challenge. The older Velthari looked uncomfortable. In their long history of guiding species, none had ever developed beyond what the Velthari themselves had achieved. None had created technologies or ideas if the Velthari had not already known. Commander Thelvash felt anger rising in his chest. The humans are dangerous because they are unpredictable. They have developed weapons that could destroy their own planet. They have conflicts between their nations. They have no central authority to control their actions. Yet they haven't destroyed themselves, Mordain observed. Despite all their conflicts, they continue to grow and learn. They even cooperate when facing external threats, as they did when we arrived. On Earth, humans were indeed cooperating, in ways that surprised even themselves. Dr. Kim Dae-ho worked with scientists from every major nation. Their research center had been established in the International Space Station, which now served as neutral ground for studying the alien technology. Colonel Yoon Tai-min coordinated global defense efforts from a command center in Geneva. We need to understand what we're dealing with, he told the assembled military leaders. 12 ships, each the size of a small city. Biotechnology we can't fully comprehend, and aliens who seem disturbed by our very existence. Dr. Lee So-young continued diplomatic communications with the Velthari. But the aliens' responses had become formal and cold. They asked detailed questions about human military capabilities, population centers, and government structures. The questions worried her. They're studying us like specimens, she reported to the Emergency Council. They want to know how our society works, how we make decisions, how we resolve conflicts. Captain Nam Ho-jin of the Korean Navy was working with Dr. Seo Hye-jin, a quantum physicist, to analyze the alien ships. The biotechnology is incredible, Hye-jin said, but it's also predictable. Every ship has the same design, the same capabilities, no variation. Is that significant? Nam asked. Maybe. Our technology varies constantly. We experiment with different designs. We try new approaches. They seem to have one perfect design that never changes. Meanwhile, philosopher Dr. Lim Sung-ho was studying the recorded conversations with the aliens. They keep asking about our controllers, he told the research team. They can't understand a species that governs itself. They assume someone else must be in charge. Back. On the Velthari ships, the debate continued. The council had been meeting for hours, and the divisions were becoming clear. I propose we implement the correction protocol, Thelvash announced. The words sent a shock through the chamber. Several younger Velthari gasped audibly. The correction protocol? Kelthera stood up again. Commander, that protocol has only been used 3 times in our history. Each time it meant the complete restructuring of an entire civilization. And each time it was necessary, Torvak added. Species that develop incorrectly become threats to themselves and others. The humans have clearly developed incorrectly. Mordain activated a holographic display. "Let me show you what correction means," she said. The images showed 3 different worlds. Beautiful planets with cities and civilizations. Then the same planets after correction. Empty landscapes, scattered ruins, populations reduced to small, primitive tribes. "We don't destroy them," Thelvash explained to the younger Velthari who had never seen correction before. "We reset them. We release biological agents that make them forget their advanced technologies. We reduce their numbers to manageable levels. Then we guide them properly from the beginning." "You erase their civilizations," Kelthara said, her voice filled with horror. "You destroy everything they built." "We save them from themselves," Thelvash replied. "And we protect the galaxy from the chaos they might cause." The debate grew heated. Younger Velthari argued that humans had shown remarkable achievements. They pointed to human art, music, literature, and scientific discoveries. They argued that diversity was valuable, not dangerous. The older Velthari countered with examples of human wars, environmental damage, and social conflicts. They insisted that unguided development always led to self-destruction eventually. "The humans have nuclear weapons," Torvak said. "They have biological weapons. They have the capability to destroy all life on their planet. How long before they use these weapons against each other? They also have art that moves the soul," Kelthara replied. "They have music that expresses emotions we have never felt. They have stories that explore possibilities we have never imagined." "Emotions are unpredictable," Zendar said. "Art is unnecessary. Stories are distractions from proper development." "Or maybe," suggested Mordain quietly, "emotions, art, and stories are what make life worth living." The statement shocked the council into silence. No Velthari had ever questioned the value of their controlled, peaceful existence. They had eliminated conflict, struggle, and uncertainty from their society. They had achieved perfect order and stability. But humans had taken a different path. They had kept their emotions, their creativity, their unpredictability. And somehow, they had used these things to build something the Velthari had never seen before, a civilization that constantly changed and grew. Commander Thelvash felt the weight of decision pressing down on him. The humans represented everything the Velthari had spent millions of years trying to prevent: chaos, conflict, unpredictable change. But they also represented something the Velthari had lost long ago: the ability to surprise themselves. "I need time to consider," Thelvash said finally. "We will reconvene in 1 day. Each of you will prepare your arguments for or against correction." As the council dispersed, Kelthara approached Mordain. "Do you really think we might be wrong about the humans?" she asked quietly. Mordain looked out at the blue planet below them. "I think," she said slowly, "that we might be wrong about everything." On Earth, Dr. Kim Daeho was having a similar conversation with his team. "The aliens' behavior suggests they're debating what to do with us," he said. "The question is, what options are they considering?" "Maybe they want to help us," suggested Dr. Park Min-ah hopefully. Colonel Yoon Tae-min shook his head. "Military intelligence suggests they're studying our weaknesses. This feels like preparation for something we won't like." "Then we need to be ready," Dr. Lee So-young said. "Ready to defend ourselves, or ready to prove that we deserve to exist as we are." Neither species knew that the next day would bring a decision that would change the course of galactic history. The Velthari would have to choose between their ancient beliefs and a new understanding of what life could become. And humanity would have to prove that chaos and creativity were not weaknesses, but the greatest strengths in the universe. The second Velthari Council meeting began at dawn. Commander Thelvash entered the chamber to find the council divided into 2 clear groups. The older members sat on one side, their faces set with determination. The younger members sat on the other side, looking worried, but resolute. "I have made my decision," Thelvash announced. "The humans represent a clear threat to galactic stability. They have developed weapons capable of destroying worlds. They fight among themselves. They have no central authority to control their actions. The correction protocol will begin immediately. Several younger Velthari gasped. Navigator Kelthara stood up quickly. Commander, please reconsider. Give us more time to study them. I have studied them enough, Thelvash replied coldly. Security Chief Torvak, prepare the biocorrection ships. We will release the memory erasure agents in major population centers. Within 1 month, humans will forget all advanced technology. Within 1 year, their population will return to sustainable levels. You mean you will kill billions of them? Kelthara said, her voice shaking with anger. I will save them from destroying themselves, Thelvash answered, and I will save the galaxy from the chaos they would spread. Science Curator Mordain activated her personal communicator. I request permission to conduct one final study of human civilization before correction begins. Permission denied, Thelvash said. Correction begins now. But Mordain had not been asking Thelvash. She had been speaking to Kelthara and the other younger Velthari. Unknown to the command structure, they had been secretly communicating with humans for the past day. On Earth, Dr. Kim Dae-ho received an urgent message on a frequency the aliens had taught them. This is Science Curator Mordain. Your species is in immediate danger. Commander Thelvash has ordered what we call correction. You have very little time. The message sent Earth's leadership into emergency session. Colonel Yoon Tae-min coordinated with military commanders worldwide. Bioweapons designed to erase memory and reduce population. How do we defend against something like that? Dr. Seo Hye-jin worked frantically with her team to understand Velthari biotechnology. Their weapons are designed for species they guided, she said. But we developed independently. Our genetic diversity might protect us. Might isn't good enough, said General Baek Jae-won, who had taken command of global defense forces. We need certainties. Dr. Park Min-ah was studying human achievements alongside engineer Yang Ki-tae and computer scientist Im Na-young. The aliens keep saying we developed wrong, Min-ah said. But what if we developed better? What do you mean? Yang asked. Look at their technology, Im Na-young said, pointing to scans of the alien ships. It's incredibly advanced, but it's all the same. Every ship identical. Every tool identical. No variation. No experimentation. Our technology is messier, Yang added. But it's also more creative. We have thousands of different approaches to every problem. Meanwhile, Dr. Oh Seung-hwan had made a breakthrough discovery about human development. The aliens think our chaos is a weakness, he told the Emergency Council. But chaos is what made us strong. We adapted to ice ages, volcanic eruptions, plagues, wars. Every challenge made us more resilient. On the largest Velthari ship, the biocorrection systems were coming online. Massive organic weapons designed to target specific genetic markers and neural pathways. They had been used successfully on 3 other worlds to reset civilizations that had developed incorrectly. But Navigator Kelthara and Science Curator Mordain were working secretly to sabotage the weapons. We cannot let them do this, Kelthara whispered as they accessed the bioship's control systems. The humans represent something we have never seen, Mordain agreed. If we destroy them, we destroy the possibility of learning something new, about existence itself. Their sabotage was discovered quickly. Security Chief Torvak arrested both of them. Treason, he declared. You are betraying your own species to protect dangerous aliens. We are trying to save our species from making a terrible mistake, Kelthara replied. Commander Thelvash was furious. Deploy the correction weapons immediately. Do not wait for further orders. The first bioships descended toward Earth. Their living hulls pulsed with deadly purpose. Inside each ship, biological weapons waited to be released into Earth's atmosphere. But the humans were ready. Dr. Kim Dae-ho and his team had worked with the rebel Velthari to understand the bioweapons. They had developed countermeasures based on human genetic diversity and adaptive immune systems. The weapons target specific neural pathways, Dae-ho explained to the Global Defense Network. But human brains developed differently than the aliens expected. Our creativity and chaos created unexpected neural connections. As the first bioweapon was released over New York City, something extraordinary happened. Instead of forgetting their technology, humans began adapting to the alien attack. Medical teams led by Dr. Seo Hyejin quickly developed treatments. The human immune system, strengthened by millions of years of fighting diseases, began to neutralize the bioagents. Impossible, Torvak said, watching the readings from Earth. The correction agents should have worked immediately. Human biology is more complex than we understood, reported the bioship commander. They are adapting to our weapons in real time. On Earth, something even more remarkable was happening. Faced with an external threat, human nations were cooperating in ways they never had before. Ancient enemies shared technology. Competing corporations worked together. Different cultures combined their knowledge to fight the alien bioweapons. Captain Park Jin-ho led international teams in analyzing captured alien technology. Every piece of their equipment is perfectly designed, he reported. But perfectly designed for predictable situations. They never planned for species that adapt and change rapidly. Dr. Lim Sung-ho was documenting the philosophical implications of the conflict. The aliens created a galaxy of controlled species, he said. But control creates weakness. Our chaos created strength. The bioweapons continued to fail. Each new agent the Velthari released was met with human adaptation and creativity. Scientists around the world worked together to develop new countermeasures. Artists created inspiring works that boosted human morale. Leaders made speeches that united people across all boundaries. We are not fighting just for our survival, Dr. Lee So-young announced to the world. We are fighting for the right to be ourselves, the right to grow and change and make mistakes and learn from them. On the Velthari ships, panic was spreading. Their perfect weapons were useless against human adaptability. Their controlled approach was being defeated by human chaos. How is this possible? Thelvash demanded. We have corrected civilizations far more advanced than these primitives. Maybe, said Mordain from her prison cell. We never corrected a civilization that was truly alive. The statement hung in the air like a challenge. For the first time in their long history, the Velthari were facing a species that refused to be controlled. Humans were not just surviving the correction process, they were growing stronger because of it. Commander, reported the fleet's bioweapon specialist, human adaptation rate is beyond our models. They are developing immunity to weapons we have not even deployed yet. Thelvash stared at the screens showing Earth. The planet blazed with activity as humans worked together to defend themselves. They were not just fighting back. They were learning from the attack and becoming more resilient. What do we do now? Asked Torvak. For the first time in his long life, Commander Thelvash had no answer. The humans had done something no species in Velthari history had ever accomplished. They had taken the worst the galaxy could throw at them and turned it into an opportunity to grow stronger. The war between order and chaos had begun, and chaos was winning. The Velthari fleet hung in space above Earth, but now it was divided. Half the ships still followed Commander Thelvash and his orders to correct humanity. The other half had joined Navigator Kelthara and Science Curator Mordain in what could only be called a revolution. This has never happened before, Thelvash said, staring at the reports from his loyal ships. Velthari do not fight each other. We do not rebel. We do not question the natural order. Maybe, suggested his aide, the humans have infected us with their chaos. The thought terrified Thelvash more than any weapon could. If humans could make even the Velthari change and adapt, then they truly were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. On Earth, humans watched the alien civil war with amazement. Dr. Kim Dae-ho was in direct communication with the rebel Velthari ships. They are fighting each other because of us, he told the emergency council. Some of them want to preserve us and others want to destroy us. What does that mean for Earth? Asked General Baek Jae-won. It means we have allies, said Dr. Lee So-young. For the first time, we are not facing this alone. The battle above Earth was unlike anything in galactic history. Velthari bioships, which had never been designed for combat against each other, struggled to fight. Their weapons were meant for correcting planets, not destroying their own kind, but the humans offered something new: tactical advice based on chaos and unpredictability. Captain Park Jin-ho worked with the rebel Velthari to develop new strategies. "Your ships are all identical," he explained to Kelthera, "but that means Thelvash knows exactly what you can do. We need to make your ships different, unpredictable." "How?" Kelthera asked. "Human engineering," said Dr. Seo Hyejin. "We adapt your biotechnology with our mechanical systems, create hybrid ships that work in ways no one expects." The idea horrified traditional Velthari, but it fascinated the rebels. Working together, humans and rebel aliens began modifying the bioships. They added human technology to alien systems. They created new weapons and defenses that had never existed before. "This is blasphemy," Thelvash declared when he saw the modified ships. "Pure biotechnology mixed with primitive mechanical systems. It should not work, but it did work." The hybrid ships were faster, more creative, and completely unpredictable. They used human tactics combined with Velthari technology to outmaneuver the traditional fleet. Dr. Oh Seung-hwan made another breakthrough during the battle. "The aliens' greatest weakness is their perfection," he announced. "They have eliminated all flaws from their society. But flaws are where innovation comes from. Mistakes lead to discoveries." "What are you suggesting?" asked Dr. Park Min-ah. "We show them what they have lost," Oh said. "We show them what happens when a species embraces its flaws instead of eliminating them." The humans began broadcasting their culture to both Velthari fleets: music that expressed raw emotion, art that celebrated imperfection, stories about heroes who succeeded because of their weaknesses, not despite them. The effect on the Velthari was profound. Many had never experienced anything like human creativity. They had built a perfect society, but they had forgotten what it felt like to be moved by beauty or inspired by struggle. Young Velthari on traditional ships began to question their orders. They listened to human music and felt emotions they had forgotten existed. They saw human art and wondered why their own culture had eliminated such beauty. "The humans are corrupting our crews," Torvak reported to Thelvash. "Their chaotic broadcasts are making our people think dangerous thoughts." "Then, we end this now," Thelvash decided. "Deploy the planetary correction weapon. We will reset Earth completely, even if it means destroying the rebels with it." The planetary correction weapon was the most powerful tool in the Velthari arsenal. It could erase all complex life from a world and restart evolution from the beginning. It had never been used before because it was considered too extreme. But Commander Thelvash was desperate. The humans had done more than survive his correction attempts. They had turned Velthari against each other. They had introduced chaos into the most ordered civilization in the galaxy. As the massive weapon charged up, both human and rebel Velthari forces prepared for a final battle. They knew they could not stop the planetary weapon with conventional attacks. "We need a different approach," Dr. Kim Dae-ho said. "Something the aliens would never expect." "What could surprise a species that has existed for millions of years?" asked Yang Ki-tae. "Forgiveness," said Dr. Lim Sung-ho quietly. Everyone stared at the philosopher. "Forgiveness?" Dr. Lee So-young asked. "They are trying to destroy our entire civilization." "Exactly," Lim said. "They expect us to fight back with violence. They expect us to hate them for attacking us. What if we did the opposite?" The plan was insane by any military standard. Instead of attacking Thelvash's ship, the humans and rebel Velthari sent a single small vessel. It carried no weapons, no threats, no demands. It carried an invitation. Dr. Kim Dae-ho and Navigator Kelthara flew to Thelvash's flagship together. They were unarmed and made no attempt to resist when they were captured. "You have come to surrender?" Thelvash asked, when they were brought before him. "We have come to make an offer," Dae-ho said. "We want to share what we have learned with you." "I do not want your chaos," Thelvash replied. "Not chaos," Kelthara said. "Growth, change, the possibility of becoming more than we are." Deho activated a small device that projected images of human and Velthari working together. The hybrid ships they had created, the new technologies they had developed, the art and music that had moved so many alien hearts. "You think we are dangerous because we are unpredictable," Deho said. "But unpredictability is not dangerous if it is guided by wisdom and compassion." "Your species fights wars," Thelvash accused. "Yes," Deho admitted, "but we also make peace. We learn from our conflicts, we grow stronger through our struggles. You make mistakes, and we learn from them. Every mistake teaches us something new." Science curator Mordain, who had been freed by the rebels, entered the chamber. "Commander, I have been studying the hybrid technologies we created with the humans. They represent advances beyond anything we have achieved in 1,000,000 years. Impossible," Thelvash said. Mordain showed him the data, new forms of faster-than-light travel, biomechanical systems that could adapt and repair themselves, energy sources that were both efficient and renewable. "How?" Thelvash asked weakly. "By combining order and chaos," Kelthera explained. "Your control provides stability. Human creativity provides innovation. Together, we can achieve things neither of us could accomplish alone." Thelvash felt his worldview crumbling. Everything he had believed about the proper way to develop civilization was being challenged, but the evidence was undeniable. In just a few days, humans and rebel Velthari had created technologies that surpassed millions of years of controlled development. "What are you proposing?" he asked finally. "Partnership," Deho said. "Not control, not correction, but true cooperation. We learn from each other. We grow together. We explore possibilities neither of us imagined alone." The chamber fell silent. The planetary weapon continued to charge, but Thelvash made no move to fire it. "The other species we guide," he said slowly. "What about them?" "Give them the same choice," Kelthera suggested. "Let them decide how they want to develop. Some may choose control. Others may choose chaos. Most will probably choose something in between. And the galaxy becomes more diverse," Deho said. "More creative, more alive." Commander Thelvash looked at the screens showing Earth. The planet blazed with lights and activity. Billions of humans living chaotic, unpredictable, creative lives. For the first time in his existence, the sight did not horrify him. Instead, it filled him with something he had never felt before: curiosity about what might be possible. "Stand down the planetary weapon," he ordered quietly. The words sent shockwaves through both fleets. The war was over before it had truly begun. 1 year later, Dr. Kim Deho stood on the bridge of the first human Velthari exploration ship. Captain Park Jin-ho commanded the vessel, which was crewed by both species working together. "Where to first?" Park asked. "Velthari records show 12 worlds that were corrected over the past 1,000,000 years," said navigator Kelthera, who now served as the ship's alien liaison. "Perhaps we can help them remember what they lost." Dr. Seo Hyejin monitored the hybrid systems that powered their ship. Human creativity had been combined with Velthari biotechnology to create something entirely new. The ship could adapt to any environment, repair itself, and even evolve new capabilities as needed. "First stop, Kepler 442b, Park announced. "Oh, world that was corrected 50,000 years ago. Let's see if we can help them remember how to dream." On Earth, the transformation continued. Velthari science centers worked alongside human universities. Alien biotechnology helped humans explore space, while human creativity helped aliens rediscover art and music.